Hey guys, how you doing? I'm doing fine, thank you very much. It's Hila here from Saturday Night Stitch. So today's post, I am super excited to share with you some of my vintage sewing machines. So for today's post, I've decided to show you my Singer 66Ks. So we're gonna jump straight into it. Started, remember to hit that subscribe button for new sewing related videos every week. And also if you hit the bell, you'll get kind of like a notification whenever I upload something. So, consider doing that. Okay, 66Ks, here I come. Okay, so first off, this is Singer 66K number 1. It didn't come in a base. I bought it on eBay. What I didn't notice when I bought it on eBay was that it's missing this lotus head decal here. I was so keen to buy it, I didn't really notice. And it also doesn't have a bobbin cover, which I've noticed most 66Ks don't. But as you can see, on there the decals still relatively in good nick.
The Singer Class 66 models were heavy-duty domestic sewing machines, and they basically set the standard for several decades. And in fact, the Class 66 bobbin and the Class 66 style horizontal oscillating hook arrangement are still in use on many of the newer sewing machines you see today. So mostly because the 66Ks were full-size machines, they weighed around 13 kilos. That's about 30 pounds. So they were usually sold on treadle tables or in cabinets, and that's why if you're looking around on eBay, you tend to find that most of them don't have a bed that they sit in, and most people do that thing, refurbish an old sewing machine table, but they take the sewing machine out because they like the look of the wrought iron, which is a bit of a shame, but never mind. When I get these machines, some of them tend to be in worse states than this. So for me, this is actually not too bad, even though as you can tell there from the footage that there's probably, a decade's worth of lint and fluff in there. And that's kind of the fun part for me, cleaning that up, oiling it, getting it to move again, and getting it to look almost as good as new. Because these parts and components, they're not made out of plastic, they are made out of iron. And so they do stay in, once you maintain them, they do get up to a good condition. So I would normally take a toothbrush and a lot of old rags that I would use to try and clean off all of that dust and all of that lint, and then take it apart and clean it up as best as I can. So number 2 is this lovely old beauty here. Again, it's missing a bobbin cover, which seems to be pretty standard for some reason on these. I very rarely come across them on eBay with the bobbin cover. The decals are in much better condition than the first one, which is why I really liked this one. So this one, I also bought this on eBay, and I had to travel about 30 miles to go collect it, but it actually had all of the lotus decals that I wanted. When I got it, it was seized up, and I had to give it an oil bath to get the needle bar to move up and down. And that's generally kind of like the first thing that I do. So this one is one of the earlier models because it's got the bobbin winder on the lower left side there. Some of the later models of the 66K, the bobbin winder is slightly up. So I've just got them side by side so you can see what I mean. So that's the earlier model. You've got the bobbin winder lower on the right side, and then later on they put it further up, which is more common with subsequent sewing machines. I haven't decided yet whether I like it the old-fashioned way. I haven't actually tried using this one yet, the bobbin winder, but there we have it. It's a really beautiful looking model, and all of the decals are mostly complete, and I really like that it has got the nose plate with some scrolly designs on it. The later ones don't have a fancy scroll plate. I mean, this to me is probably Singer trying to cut costs on certain parts, but that's all right. And another thing that I wanted to point out is that most of these Singer 66Ks were built with a back clamping presser foot. Most standard machines have got a side clamping one. So this is that Class 66 style horizontal oscillating hook arrangement that allows you to load the bobbin from the top. And that standard mechanism where you load your bobbin from the top, that was first introduced with the 66K, and it makes it a lot easier to get your bobbin in there compared to the previous models. Another thing that I like about this one is you've got that back plate and it's got the fancy scroll details. Now this one is a hand crank mechanism, as you can see there, and I think I'm going to definitely keep it as a hand crank. So this one, it was in better condition, it was better maintained than the first one, because I haven't really done that much to it yet. And you know, I mean, clearly I think the seller just wiped it down before selling it on. Some people don't even bother wiping it down or anything, but I don't mind. So that's my Singer 66K number 2, by the way. So you may find when you're reading about these, you'll find that they say 66 or 66K. The K basically means that it was manufactured at the original Kilbowie plant in Scotland, and you can find that out just by using the serial numbers. But they are really gorgeous machines to look at. Number 3 is in a treadle. This was the first one that I managed to find that was actually available in its treadle. And this one is a small parlor machine. It's not as big, and it was missing the veneer on the top. But as you can see, this was made using solid wood, which is pretty amazing. So for restoration, I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to put a veneer on it or I'm just going to varnish that and bring out the grain. But it's also got the original Singer manufacturing heraldry or emblem, but I love that wrought iron scroll work. So whatever I do with this one, this is going to stay out as a display thing. But basically you turn it over like that to create a surface for you to sew on. And then you've got the machine in there. And this is going to need a lot of work, because this one was in the treadle machine for quite a long time. It actually managed to maintain the brightness and the vitality of the decals. So the decals on this one the decals are actually quite gold. They've got a really beautiful golden hue, which is closer to what they would have been like coming fresh out of that factory in Kilbowie. And that's why I love this. I was very, very lucky to find this on eBay, and it was less than 30 miles away, and because it was local collection only, I had a really good chance. And it's got quite a bit of rust. I'm gonna need to fix the tensioning unit, but I really like this one. I wish it had a better nose plate, but sometimes you can't pick and choose with these vintage sewing machines. But it is in really, really good nick, and it is a treadle. And in the time that it has been sitting in my dining area, the kids just love. They will literally stand there for half an hour at a time, just mesmerized by the motion of the treadle as it moves the wheel around. So it's also been useful for giving the kids something to do. But it's a really gorgeous machine to look at, and I cannot wait to get this, to finish restoring this and get it up to use. The Singer 66K had 2 basic weaknesses, and that was that it didn't have a reverse feed feature to do back stitching, and you were also unable to drop the feed dogs, which meant that you really couldn't do embroidery or darning without a special cover plate. But Singer fixed that with their next make, which was the magnificent Singer 201K, which was amazing. But this Singer 66K, it reigned supreme for over 30 years before the outbreak of World War II. And by then, the Singer 201K, which is the finest sewing machine that Singer ever produced. So apart from its incredible good looks, the Singer 66K is reputed to do a near perfect stitch, and it is able to sew any thickness of fabric from fine silk to heavy canvas.
So just how many vintage sewing machines should one person have? Is that something you'd ask a cat lady? I don't think so. So I'm like a cat lady, except my cats are vintage sewing machines, which means I can have a house full of them. I really hope that you've enjoyed the video. And if you did, please do give it a big thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already, do subscribe for new sewing related videos every week. I try and put out something new every week or so. And until I see you next time, guys, happy sewing. Bye.